Wala naman akong masasabi na hindi naman masasabi ng abogado ko kung hindi may apologies sa nangyari. May apologies kay Mr. Floralde at kanyang pamilya.
The driver in the viral hit-and-run incident in Mandaluyong has surrendered to authorities. You heard the suspect, Jose Antonio San Vicente, speaking before media. He has apologized to the security guard he ran over.
The security guard, Christian Joseph Loralde, says he accepts the apology but is still bent on pressing charges. Cases of frustrated murder and abandonment of one's victim have been filed against San Vicente. It is now up to court to decide the probable cause. Time for today's biggest headlines. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. 10 days after the hit-and-run incident in Mandaluyong, SUV driver and suspect Jose Antonio San Vicente has surrendered to the police.
With this, PNP says the ball is now in the prosecutor's court to find if there is a probable cause for the frustrated murder filed against the suspect. Jenny Dongon with The Big Story.
I cannot remember. That's what Jose Antonio San Vicente, the driver of the SUV who figured in the viral hit-and-run incident in Mandaluyong, said as he surrendered himself in Camp Crame. Days after being a no-show, he faced the media together with his parents and lawyer.
Hindi ko na talaga maalala kung ano iniisip ko noon. Like, kaya sinabi ko, ang gulo isip ko noon hanggang ngayon, mahirap mag-isip. Baka hindi ko masasagot ngayon. Baka mali pa masabi ko sa inyo.
San Vicente also apologized to the family of the victim, Christian Joseph Loralde.
May apologies sa nangyari. May apologies kay Mr. Floralde at kanyang pamilya.
His family decided to surrender him following the statement of PNP Chief Vicente Danao urging San Vicente to submit himself. His mother also said that they fear for their son's future.
Hindi kami makakain. Siyempre, anak namin yung involved. Saka nag-viral na di ba? Masisira na yung buhay ng anak ko. Ito, aksidente naman talaga to. Sino ba may gusto ng takbuhan yun?
But what happens with the case now that San Vicente surrendered? PNP said it is now considered solved, and it is up to the prosecutors to decide if there is a probable cause for the frustrated murder case filed against him.
So they will have their day in court or his day in court, no? So para po dadaan pa po kasi ito sa preliminary investigation kasi hindi na po natin siya pwedeng i-inquest due to the lapse of time.
As for the victim, Floralde thanked the suspect for submitting himself and for promising to shoulder his hospital expenses. Despite this, though, he will still pursue the case against the suspect.
Pero yung hindi lang tama yung tinakbuhan niya ako saka yung ginulungan niya ako. Yun. Pero kailangan po nila harapin pa rin po yung kasong nakasampa po sa kanila.
For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
What's next for the case of the SUV owner that ran over a security guard here? And UST Civil Law Professor Attorney DJ Jimenez. Good evening, Attorney Jimenez. Welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, Robbie. Good evening, Gretchen.
Okay, Attorney, unang-una yung charges na napapag-usapan, frustrated murder at saka abandonment of one's victims. Does that sound about right, or is there any other charges that we are potentially looking at here?
Well, without really preempting the investigation of the investigating prosecutor, cases like this usually fall under reckless imprudence, no? Qualified by abandonment, in which case still with the RTC. But it can also happen that the investigating prosecutor might find basis to file frustrated homicide. But I have doubts if this would be frustrated murder, because for a crime to be considered as murder or frustrated murder, we have what we call as yung mga special aggravating circumstances, which are abuse of superior strength, no, treachery, etc. Now, as we can see from the footage naman, there may be an intent to kill, pero yung mga ibang aggravating circumstance, the investigating prosecutor might not find it. No? In any event, even if it finds that instead of frustrated murder, pwedeng frustrated homicide, the penalty I think is around 6 years and 1 day to 12 years. In which case, sa RTC pa rin yung jurisdiction. So, hindi pa rin siya probationable. But in a bigger picture, I think what's important here is the Congress should consider this incident as another reason to revisit our law. Kasi ang nag-govern in reckless imprudence cases is still the revised penal code under Article 365, in which case the penalty really ordinarily is within the municipal or metropolitan trial court jurisdiction, in which case kahit nakapatay ka, pwedeng mag-probation, hindi kagaya in other jurisdictions na talagang they really value yung pagka nakadisgrasya, napakalaki ng penalty. So Congress should think look at this.
Attorney, quickly, I just want to clarify something. I'm not sure if I got it right from the police official who was speaking kanina. I trust you were watching that clip. But he said something like, siguro kailangan ng preliminary investigation or preliminary inquiry kasi, sabi niya, hindi na to pwedeng i-inquest. I think that's a direct quote. Hindi na to pwedeng i-inquest because of the lapse of time. What exactly do those terms mean? What does that mean?
Okay, under our present rules of procedure, you can be charged for a criminal offense directly in court if you have been caught in the act of committing a crime or you have just committed a crime. In this particular case, several days before the driver surrendered. And because of that lapse of time, hindi na siya tinatawag nating inquestable. And what happens here? Pwede pa rin kasuhan, pero ito ay ipa-file sa prosecutor's office. And yung ating prosecutor's office ang magdi-determine ng ating probable cause at saka pa lang niya isasampas sa korte. Unlike if there and then kakomit ka ng crime, sumuko ka or inaresto ka, diretsong isasampas sa court ang magiging kaso ng people of the Philippines versus yung driver. Sa ngayon, it's still it's still the victim versus the driver. Wala pang pinafile ang prosecutor's office. Iniimbestigahan pa lang kung ano yung appropriate offense that should be filed.
Okay. Attorney, one quick question na lang. Given what you just discussed, na may implications din, although it doesn't necessarily limit the options, but may implications then yung lapse of time. Given that it took 10 days for them to surrender, is there any potential aggravating circumstance there in the amount of time that it took for them to finally face up to this case?
Actually, usually wala naman, in many cases, talaga, those who are subject to similar incidents, talagang medyo hindi mo na yan susurrender kasi kasi na-surrender ka kagad, diretso ka na sasampahan sa korte. So, kaya talagang wala naman siyang kasi after the fact na yan So, natapos na yung offense supposedly. So, wala siyang effect. So.
Okay. Maraming salamat po. That was a Pinoy street lawyer and UST civil law professor, Attorney DJ Jimenez. Now, what are the charges and sanctions that Mr. San Vicente could face? Gretchen gives us a quick look back. Gretchen?
For starters, we do know that his driver's license has been revoked and that he has been perpetually barred from driving again. The Justice Department has also placed him under Immigration Lookout Bulletin. But apart from that, San Vicente will be facing charges of frustrated murder and abandonment of persons during accidents. PNP records show San Vicente has also had cases of reckless driving back in 2010, 2015, and 2016. These are the other big stories tonight. As Cebu further cements its optional masking mandate with an ordinance, other provinces have started to also question the national government's face mask requirements. A gun ban and no-fly zone orders have been issued in Davao and Metro Manila ahead of the inauguration of the incoming president and vice president. And is BTS breaking up or just going on a break? Members of the K-pop superstar group have expressed their plans to pursue solo work. More of these big stories after the break.
You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. Cebu is standing by its mandate to make masking optional, this time by coming up with an ordinance despite opposition from national government.
Cebu's actions now have other provinces considering the possibility of easing on their mask requirements as well. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro gives us a front seat to this story.
Cebu Province is standing firm on its decision to throw out the mask mandate in public open spaces. The Cebu Provincial Board officially adopted Governor Gwen Garcia's Executive Order 16 as a provincial ordinance with the force of law. The ordinance passed in record time of 30 minutes, challenges Malacanang's insistence that the IATF order requiring face masks still stands. But it looks like more provinces are joining up with Cebu in questioning the masking requirement. League of Provinces Chairman and Quirino Governor Dakila Kua says other LGUs are now asking if they can ease their mask restrictions as well.
Halimbawa, doon sa mga lugar na talagang kagubatan naman yung kanilang barangay, at hindi naman talaga nagkukumpul-kumpul ang tao doon. Baka naman there should be more depth to our policy according to our data.
On Tuesday, the PNP relieved Cebu Provincial Police Chief Engelbert Soriano, who earlier stood by Garcia. The PNP said Soriano's relief was for his own career advancement. Nevertheless, the PNP reminded all its units to follow instructions from the DILG and the PNP hierarchy.
Yung ating pong national government policy should prevail over local ordinances.
As of Wednesday, only Cebu has so far loosened its mask mandate. The health department and other experts reminded the public that face masks are still a must, especially since vaccine immunity are already starting to wane. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
But let's be clear, health experts can't stress enough, keep your masks on. This as an uptick in cases has been reported in NCR. They maintain that the situation is still manageable and that there is still no need to escalate to alert level 2. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez with this report.
Alert Level 1 stays in Metro Manila. According to the Health Department, while there is an uptick in infections, it's still way below metrics to warrant an escalation.
We need around to have 6,000 plus cases per day nationally for this about 2 weeks para maka-reach tayo dun sa alert level 2.
So far, the country tallies 270 cases per day on average. 170 of those are in NCR. But while numbers are still low, Vergere tells the chiefs COVID admissions might increase come August should booster take-up remain low. The second booster dose is still not yet rolled out to the general population.
Ang ating pong uptake would be just around 14.5 million. Towards August, siguro for September, hospitalizations might increase because severe and critical will increase because of the waning immunity.
So far, what's filling hospitals are non-COVID patients. But the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines says their COVID wards are ready to take on a possible surge in COVID cases.
The COVID wards are actually separated from the non-COVID wards. The only problem that we might encounter is the number of nurses and the healthcare workers.
But the business sector is not even amiable to a possible return to alert level 2 with the economy still on demand.
Bakit di natin matanggap na talaga tayo nagno-normalize at lagi na lang may naiisip na problema?
To avoid that from happening, the DOH is adamant. Health protocols must be followed, especially the wearing of masks, even as some local governments are now considering to follow Cebu and make it optional. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
Meanwhile, in sports, over the past 2 years, the country has seen several of its top athletes opt to play in international leagues. While the demand for athletes is a testament to the skill of Pinoys, how will this impact the local sports scene? The answer in my report.
That's a perfect pass. Sean O'Mara there with his
More and more Filipino athletes have seemingly opted to play abroad with hopes of building their own legacies. The movement started with Thirdy Ravenna back in 2020 when he became the first Pinoy to join Japan's top-tier B League. Since then, 7 more cagers followed him to Japan. But what does this exodus spell for Philippine basketball?
This opportunity for Asian players to go overseas was never really available in the past. So it's just, it's just happening to us now. But really, it shouldn't even be discussed as a threat at any level.
But can anyone really blame these players for signing up in international leagues, especially if it means getting to earn almost 4 times more? A reliable source says an average player in Japan can get paid from 800,000 pesos to 2 million pesos a month, while in the PBA, the highest salary that one can make on paper is at 420,000 pesos a month. So how then can local leagues compete for the best talent?
The PBA has the best talent in recent years. It all boils down to, innovation, right? Engaging fans in a different level, having the players become real ambassadors of their respective ball clubs.
Movements are also happening in volleyball, where doors in Japan, Thailand, and Bahrain are opening up for the likes of Jaja Santiago, Maylene Paat, Mark Espejo, Brian Bagunas, and Joshua Umandal. Salaries in international leagues start at a minimum of 100,000 pesos to 200,000 pesos a month, unlike in local leagues, where they can fetch a minimum of 40,000 pesos. In the case of football, while opportunities to play are being had elsewhere, it's a different story. International salaries range from 400,000 to 750,000 pesos and can go as high as 1 to 1.2 million pesos a month.
For sheer ability talaga, kinukuha ang Filipino players overseas, not for marketing or commercial reasons. Kasi wala silang makukuha dito eh. Sa totoo.
But with the Philippine women's football team having entered the FIFA World Cup for the first time in history, Sedelf believes there is momentum on football's side. He only sees the challenges as an opportunity to get better. Gretchen Ho, We Are One News. Time for another quick break. More of the big stories when we return.
Watching The Big Story, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. The Philippine National Police is set to implement a gun ban in preparation for the inauguration ceremonies of President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Vice President-elect Sara Duterte.
But before his oath-taking event, Marcos Jr. continues to meet with different state officials. Marlene Alcaide with this report.
There will be a gun ban in Metro Manila and Davao City for inauguration rites of President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Vice President-elect Sara Duterte. For Davao City, that will be in place for June 16 to 21 in time for Duterte's oath-taking on June 19. The NCR ban will take effect June 27 to July 2 as Marcos will be inaugurated on June 30. The PNP clarifies though that the move did not stem from any threats.
Meron mga nangyari sa Karatig region at tinitingnan natin ito yung ugnayan nito dito sa darating na malaking event. We do not discount every information that reaches our office.
The inaugural sites will also be no-fly zones. For the incoming VP's inauguration, up to 3,700 personnel will be deployed starting Saturday. Protesters will also be limited to the Freedom Park. Same goes with Marcos Jr.'s oath-taking, wherein protesters will only be allowed at Liwasang Bonifacio, Plaza Dilao, and Plaza Miranda or other freedom parks as far as 1.3 kilometers from the National Museum. But while the authorities are busy with preparations, President-elect Marcos Jr. continues his courtesy calls with different representatives from several states. The Finnish ambassador remains hopeful that Marcos Jr. will continue to condemn the ongoing Russian aggression against Ukraine. Norwegian Ambassador Bjorn Jansen, meanwhile, has committed to support the ongoing peace process in the Bangsamoro region, as well as helping the country's renewable energy efforts. Aside from them, ambassadors from Africa, Hungary, and Romania also met with Marcos Jr. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
Was it honestly the best? Cause I just wanna see the next. 부지런히
Days after dropping their latest album, K-pop superstars BTS has announced a major move, a break to pursue their solo careers. In a pre-taped special for their 9th anniversary dinner party, the group revealed the news while reminiscing about their journey.
달라졌는데 그 뒤에 이제 버터랑 퍼미션 투 댄스 이런 거 하면서는 저는 이제 우리가 어떤 팀인지 잘 모르겠더라고요.
But worry not, ARMYs. Despite this big change, BTS said they are not breaking up and will be back together.
한 단계 더 성장을 해서 여러분들 앞에 돌아온 날이
그럼 우리가 뭐 해체한다는 것도 아니고. 그렇죠. 아니 그러니까 뭔가 착한 떨어져 살 수 있다고.
Since the announcement, fans flooded social media with messages of support for the 7-man boy band. See you again soon, BTS. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
Pahinga lang pala, no? Oh, bakit?
Nalungkot ako. Nagulat ako kanina.
Bakit? Saan?
Hirap ako. Nagulat ako pagkita ko, trending. Sabi ko, ang TBS ipapatigil? Hindi pa pala. Ang The Big Story po,
BTS.
hindi mawawala. BTS, okay lang sa atin yan. Pero yung TBS,
diba?
andito pa po.
Yung yung BTS talaga napapagod. Tayo hindi napapagod.
Announce po namin, we promise we will be back tomorrow. We will be more mature when we come back.
Sa weekend din, Sa weekend papasok ka.
Tuloy-tuloy. More mature every day.
Well, lahat naman na tayo kailangan ng pahinga. Kaya more power sana rin na it's exciting also to see them in their solo careers.
Sige.
But dito muna kayo with us. That wraps up today's Big Story. Catch us again tomorrow 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And get vaccinated, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
I'm Gretchen Ho. We are One News. Have a good evening.